Okay, so part C now, find the exact value of cos 2 pi over 5. Now, since rho to the power 4 plus rho to the power 3 plus rho to the power 2 plus rho plus 1 equals 0 from A, so it's the sum of the roots. And now we can replace this rho 4 to the power 4 rho to 3 into conjugate, remember? So when we do that, I'm going to put this together, and that's what I'll get. Now with that, I'm going to put from the part 2, so part B, we know that that is 2 cos 2 pi over 5 plus, and the other one was 2 cos 4 pi over 5 plus 1 equals 0. Yeah, so that's what we got from the part B. Now, these cos 4 pi over 5 can be written as a cos 2 and 2 pi over 5. Yeah, so what we're going to use for this one is using double angle. Cos 2x equals 2 cos square x minus 1, and with x equals 2 pi over 5. Okay, then what will happen with these is 2 cos 2 pi over 5. That's not a problem. Now these we need to change because this becomes this now. Okay, so plus 2, and it's almost like it's 2x. So we need to change that to this. So I'm going to go 2 cos square x is 2 pi over 5 minus 1 plus 1 equals 0. Now, hopefully you followed and you understand this. Oh, I'm going to have to kill this. So what we'll have to do is, I'm going to explain this again. Now, 4 pi over 5, I changed that to 2 times 2 pi over 5, and that is my x. So this whole thing becomes cos 2x. Cos 2x equals, we can change it to 2 cos square x minus 1, which is the double angle. Okay, so here I got 2 coming out of here. Only this part is I'm changing into this, like this one. Okay, and then plus is coming here, plus. Okay, so that's not too bad. Now, if I expand this one, 2 cos 2 pi over 5 plus 4 cos square 2 pi over 5, I might just put that in, look, a bit nicer, minus 2 plus 1 equals 0. I'm going to push up. So that will look like, I'm going to write it in a order of the higher power. So I'm going to go 4 cos square 2 pi over 5 plus 2 cos 2 pi over 5 minus 1 equals 0, yeah? Because that will be minus 1. Now, this look like quadratic equation, isn't it? That's a square there, and that's x. You know, x squared x minus 1 equals 0. So I'm going to use quadratic formula to solve this. So remember, we normally do 4x squared plus 2x minus 1 equals 0, and then x equals. Now these, remember we said x equals 2 pi over 5. Yeah, that's our x. So I'm going to do the cos pi. Actually, x is a cos. I'm going to change that quickly. So x is almost like like x equals cos 2 pi over 5, if you like. So therefore, I'm going to go cos 2 pi over 5, because what was the question, guys? What was the question? Find the exact value of cos 2 pi over 5. So that's actually what we're looking for. Solve it for cos 2 pi over 5. So I'm going to go like that equals, now remember the formula, minus b plus minus b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Okay, when you do the x equals, so I'm going to do that's x, so minus 2 plus minus 2 squared, which is minus 4, a is 4, c is minus 1 over 2 times 4. So I'm going to do that. Yep. And then it'll be minus 2 plus minus 4 plus 16. So it'll be 4 plus 16, 20. I'm going to put that as 20 equals, and that equals over 8. Now I'm going to tidy this one up a little bit. Minus 2 plus minus. Now 20 is what? 5 times 4. So I'll get 2 root 5, 8. And then I'll simplify this. I'll get minus 1 plus minus root 5 over 4. Okay? So, but since 2 pi over 4 is in the first quadrant, isn't it? It's in the first quadrant. Right there. Okay, so it's, 2 pi over 5, isn't it? Yeah. 2 pi 5 is the first quadrant because what is it? It's a less than half, right? So half of 5 is 2.5 and it's 2 pi. So it's in here. So what's that? It's a 0 to pi over 2, really. So I'm going to write here saying since 0 to pi over 5 is pi over 2. So it's in the, then cos 2 pi over 5 is also bigger than 0 because it's in the first quadrant, isn't it? First quadrant. Therefore, cos is bigger than 0. Okay, we can do that. Therefore, from here, okay, here, cos 2 pi over 5, we're going to actually just count positive value. So, because what's the question said? Find the exact value. So, we're going to get only one value. So, it'll be cos 2 pi over 5 equals minus 1 plus root 5 over 4 only. Okay, so we're not going to count both of them, but because 2 pi over 5 is in the first quadrant, and it's going to be bigger than 0, so we're just going to count the positive solution.